Hello everyone and welcome back to Smart Move Insider, a place where we talk about fitness from within. I'm here alongside head coach Bart, and today we're going to talk about the top 10 most performing episodes of ours. Podcasting is a close project to us as we jumped in from February, and it was pretty weird at the beginning, but it got very smooth, and I think our talks are getting even better. So from our 20 plus episodes in 2024, we got the 10 most listened to episodes, and we have an order, and we're going to go through it and discuss what we still have in mind from those episodes and some important little lines. So let's go for the 10th position. The 10th position would be personal training. Do you remember that episode, Bart?
Yeah, personal training. We have people that are just in personal training. We have people that do some personal training next to the class. Different goals. Can be muscle gain, fat loss, and some people, they just want to practice a bit of a skill, can be gymnastics or weightlifting, and then they perhaps do next to the class 1 extra hour per week to spend a bit of time with a coach. And I think it can be very valuable for a short period if you're willing to develop something that you feel you're lacking in class, seeing that, of course, in class it's not working on your specific problems. So if you have a specific problem or a specific goal, and then you can have once a week, a full hour with a coach working on that, you can see very fast progress.
Exactly. I remember when we talked about this episode, what remained with me was that I was not sure what exactly is a personal training, because in many places there are multiple clients and a coach, and we divided into mini groups and then PT.
Yeah.
A PT in our gym is the coach and the client. If you want more clients and the coach, that's going to be a mini group.
Yeah. Which is will cost you less, but you will also have to divide the attention of the coach. So it's only logic.
Exactly, and I think you can do a lot of things also in those groups, because you don't. Usually in those groups there are people with the same goal, and they work together to achieve kind of the same thing. And usually the people are a long-time clients in those groups.
Yeah, usually they start off as a one-on-one, and then when they start moving better, sometimes we group them up with people with similar goals, and it's more manageable than in the beginning, because in the beginning it's a lot of hand-holding and a lot of technique to work on. But once you get the hang of it and your technique gets better, it's more about just getting in the work, and then we can start handling your goals into a more of a mini group.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing that got with me from this episode was that you need to have a specific goal, because in the classes we have general preparedness. That means we aim for a general fitness. We don't aim to get you more resistant or more stronger or more gymnastic. We are aiming at the overall good of it. But when you're in the PT, you can talk with the coach, and he will guide you to get faster to the point that you want to go. And that also is guidance / accountability. So this is what stuck with me.
It helps also for the coach. The more specific your goal, the more specific the plan can be to get to that goal. The more general, that does make things easier programming-wise. So I like the more specific, the better. Like I want to get my deadlift up, or I want to work my clean technique. It's something very specific, or I want to be able to do 10 toes to bar unbroken, then we can work with that.
Yeah, and it depends on the experience of the coach. It depends on the knowledge base that he has. He can bring a lot to the table. Yeah, that's cool. And going on further for the ninth episode, which was the programming. And I remember this was a quite long episode.
This is a long episode, over an hour. And it could have gone even longer because it's like an endless. You can keep on finding topics on programming to go deeper into. But the main talk was a bit programming from a class point of view. So to explain a little bit what CrossFit programming is, why and how they program, how we program into the gym. So to have a short recap, class programming, like you said, is about general fitness. It's short and intense workouts. Most of the time I'm programming the metcons between 10 and 20 minutes. Sometimes we go shorter, sometimes we go longer. Usually I try to focus on couplets and triplets. So that's 2 exercises or 3 exercises combined. And most of the time we go for time, so it's rounds instead of AMRAP, because it will get intensity up. The same couplets and triplets are also chosen because of it gets the intensity up, and that's one of our main goals in CrossFit is to have short, intense workouts, because intensity, in our opinion, will drive you towards results. Doesn't mean that you can't go long. Like I said, sometimes we go longer, sometimes we go very short, but most of the time it's just short and intense workouts. But there is definitely place for long and steady as well. But that's not the main core of CrossFit. But like I said, we're training in a group class, general fitness, so basically longevity, just to get you ready for life and to keep you as fit and healthy for as long as possible, not to prepare you for competition. That was also one of the main goals of that episode, to get this across, because some people are still confused when it comes to that. We want to give our clients variation, get some strength, get some cardio, but the main focus lies more on the cardio. So we do strength, we do skills, but the main focus, like for those of you that seen that CrossFit pyramid, where you have on the bottom nutrition, then you have metabolic conditioning, then you have gymnastics, then you have weightlifting, and then you have sports. Yeah. So in order of importance, the cardio is way on the bottom, and the weightlifting, which a lot of especially competitive people like to do, is much more towards the top of the pyramid. So if we're programming for longevity point of view, we're programming conditioning biased, not strength biased, which we used to do in the past, but we saw some drawbacks from doing strength biased programming. So strength biased programming is when every day has a strength and every day has a metcon. So then you're training strength biased because you're lifting heavy every day. The drawback of that was that people were getting overloaded a bit, more little injuries started popping up. Doesn't mean that you cannot train strength biased and be perfectly fine, but then you need to have a big focus on your recovery. And a lot of people want to train like a competitor, but they don't put the time in on the recovery side the same like competitors do. So eventually something's going to crack.
And we don't have that age anymore.
No.
Because competitors are usually into their 20s.
Mm.
As more as you get towards your 30s and 40s, the recovery is, you need to do it even smarter, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where also again that experience and also a bit of a bias of the programmer comes in. Of course, I'm over 40, so I've been through a lot of these negative effects of strength bias programming. So obviously you shall see it in my programming as well, because I'm thinking in your guys' place. You're now in your 20s and your 30s, but I know if I will keep on overloading you with weights, what that's going to lead to. In comparison to maybe you pop into a gym where the programmer is a 20-year-old, you might see some other type of programming because he hasn't felt that yet, what that can do to the body. It's fun while it lasts, and there is a time and a place for that. But in a CrossFit gym, doing group classes with the audience, that the regular guy that comes into CrossFit gyms, we need to, from a CrossFit point of view, to do it well, we need to do cardio focused training and do some strength, not vice versa. And if you want to compete, we just need to mix and match a bit. In that episode on programming, I gave the example, and I've given it to our competitors as well, that you can you can get more strength in by using the specialty classes that we have. So for example, if I would want to get more strength in, I would probably, as a competitor, I would train 5 to 6 days a week. I would, if I want to get more strength in, I would get the 2 weightlifting classes in. And then I would choose, do I get a third strength training in by doing the heavy day on Wednesday, yes or no? Or do I choose to go to endurance class then? And then I will play around a bit with that. Or maybe some days, especially in the lead up to a competition, I would push up the volume, and some days would be double days, where in the morning I would take the class, in the evening I would do the weightlifting, for example. But that's a bit of playing around with it. But yeah, as a competitor, you'll need more volume and you'll need the weights. But you can still get that in our programming. So it's a bit of looking around. But we even have people that are super fit and they just do the class programming 5 or 6 days a week. So it depends a bit where maybe you're lacking as a competitor. For the new year, we're planning also a gymnastic class. So that will be another thing that you can add if you have some weaknesses, to focus a little bit to cover all the bases. But I think you can perfectly, with the programming we have, do more than train for longevity if you want. And we also have, of course, when people are preparing for competition, with Max, we have the 2 days a week competition class. Once people sign up again for the new year, for the next competition, we'll restart that as well. So there are plenty of chances to do more if you want. But with pushing your body to the limits comes a higher risk of injury. And it's, if you train from a competition point of view, it's not if you're going to get hurt, it's when. It's going to happen eventually, and then you're going to have to rehab it, you're going to train around it, but it's normal. If you push your limits too often, too much, heavy weights, it's going to have an effect. It's just a matter of time.
I agree. That was a pretty comprehensive response about programming. Let's go for our 8th. On our 8th place, we have the episode with stimulus. What is the stimulus, you remember?
The stimulus, yeah, it's something that comes back every day in front of the whiteboard at the Metcon, where the coach basically tells you what's the point of this workout. Sometimes it can be a sprint, sometimes it's a long grind. He gives you some tips and tricks on weights to choose. And for example, maybe the question, am I supposed to do the power cleans unbroken? How long is a round supposed to be? If we're going on the run, am I supposed to go full out on the run, or should I use it more as a recovery today in combination with the other exercises? So all the info he gives you is to get you closer to the goal of that day, to the stimulus of that day, and to the intensity of that day. Without this explanation, you might approach a workout completely different and get another stimulus out of it. So it's important to make sure that every time you're attentive before the Metcon and catch what is the goal, what's the stimulus of today. Because it's a different stimulus. For example, if, for example, we have 10 push jerks in a workout, and it's a different stimulus if I say you should take a weight that the 10 stay unbroken, or you should take the weight so heavy that you cannot do it unbroken. That's going to be a different stimulus. One is going to be more strength focused than the other. One is going to be more on the cardio side with lighter weight. So it's important to get the explanation on the stimulus and to understand it and to ask questions if needed.
Exactly. So in order not to do something different than what is written on the board, the coach will tell you. And if you don't understand, just ask for it. It's basically the workout intention.
Yeah, because you can have a workout of 100 meters. I can walk it or I can sprint it. It's the same volume, it's the same distance, but it's a different workout.
Exactly. Anything you would add on the stimulus?
Yeah, train with intention is the goal of the stimulus. If you're just going full out every day, it's not necessarily going to reach what we want with the programming. Some days are supposed to be a grind, some days are supposed to be a sprint. It's also a programmer's way of trying to mitigate a little bit the fatigue that you get from day-to-day training. So stick to the stimulus of the day. If if the stimulus is, okay, I need you to move 2159 on Fran, 40 kilos, and I need you to go as unbroken as possible, don't think that you get fitter because it says if you put 50 kilos on the bar. The goal of the workout is to move medium weight that day as fast and as unbroken as possible, and that give a certain stimulus. You can always go heavier, but usually going heavier lowers the intensity in most cases, as far as I've seen, because you're going to take more breaks. You can go heavier if you can maintain the stimulus. If I say unbroken, 2159, if you can do that with 50, great, do it. You should. It means you're very fit and you need more. But if you cannot do 40 kilos unbroken, you don't need 50 kilos on that workout. So stimulus matters.
Exactly.
Then the next one, gear.
Yeah.
What do you still remember from the gear episode?
I remember just what I use or what I don't use.
What do you think?
I know you don't.
Is the number one thing for you to have?
The number one thing for me is that to tell the audience is that you don't need anything except your shorts to train and start CrossFit, because there are some people training without the t-shirt. So having the shorts, having that checked, you can enter the gym. Now with the t-shirt on or off, some people are pro, some against. It's a personal preference. I don't use too much gear. I'm usually just with the bare minimum of material. But what I do like wearing is the wrist wraps and the knee sleeves. And sometimes I like the sleeves that protects my triceps when we do ring rows.
Ring dips, so you don't get shaving on your arms.
That would be it.
For me, the number one thing that I advise people to invest money in is a good pair of shoes, something you can squat in. So something that is a little bit more dense on the sole, but that's still flexible enough to jump on a box and to run. Because I've seen beginners come in with running shoes, and then to squat on running shoes, which has a very soft sole. Every movement of your foot, you will see the body balance left or right, and it's not very stable. So it's not the best type of gear. So that's what I would advise. If anything, besides your shorts and your t-shirt, invest in a good pair of shoes. It's gonna improve your pleasure of doing the exercise and get you more stable in especially the lifting part.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just saw a picture with how it feels doing a squat with a weight on your back with the foam sole. It's like you having the sole made out of gummy bears, because they move.
Yeah.
It's not stable. It moves from left to right because on the impact when you run, that's the purpose of it. But when you need stability, it does the vice versa effect.
Yeah, I can tell you that now that I'm preparing for a high rocks race, I'm now trying to get used to doing wall balls in running shoes. It's not pleasant.
Not comfortable, huh?
The running shoes have a little bit of a higher heel, but then towards the tip it goes lower. So when you squat and you don't put extra emphasis on going in your heels, you like balance to your tips, because that shoe is made to lean forward for your running, but it's not very handy to do a wall ball in. So you need to exaggerate your technique and not go middle foot. You need to go very heel heavy to stay stable. Otherwise, every time you tip over, every time you do a wall ball.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Cool, let's go for the next one. On number 6 is supplements.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of supplements that I was taking, but my main thing that I say to everybody that just asks me about supplements is first, how's your nutrition and your sleep? Because usually they're asking me about supplements because they want to feel better, they want to optimize something, their energy or whatever. Everything starts from having a balanced nutrition and having enough sleep. First fix that before you add supplements. The word itself already says it. It needs to supplement something. It needs to supplement good food and preferably a decent amount of sleep, and then supplement. Don't think that taking away protein or or a pre-workout is going to solve all your issues. If the base is unstable, it doesn't matter what you stack on top.
It's like you're in a lack of sleep, and you are, so let's say you're 3 hours of sleep at night, and you are drowning yourself in caffeine.
Yeah,
It's still,
it's not going to solve the issue. That's
It's
not
not
the main
working.
issue. That's not why you're feeling. That's why you don't. That's not the reason you need the caffeine. You need to fix your sleep.
yeah. And I think it relates a lot on your on the rest of your things. And yes, that's what I remember, that you need to have your diet at least under control. And of course, sleep, hydration, and also need to be checked.
Because I've had people in the past and they started drinking protein shakes and make smoothies, but it started to become the only thing they were doing. Like, this is not a replacement for food. This is a supplement. This is what you put on top. It's like, you're not gonna now from now on I drink 2 shakes a day and need 2 snacks and that was my entire food. No, that's not normal balanced nutrition. That's just fluids and some snacks thrown in between. So no, that's not the way to go.
Yeah, it's still a long discussion about nutrition that we're gonna get into right now.
Yeah, because number 5 was our episode of nutrition, so that runs straight into it.
What I remember from that episode is the small increments in changes that you suggested. If you want to gain more and want to eat more, don't get yourself too much into eating, but go little steps, 10% more food. Or if you want to lose weight, get 10% less. But don't go crazy, because it will not be sustainable. Keep it for a while and then see how it goes and the results.
It's a marathon, it's not a sprint, and I know people want fast results. The problem with fast results is that you're then going to need to do something extreme, and that extreme way of acting you will not be able to maintain after. So, like you said, 10%, it's a start. So if I need 3,000 calories to maintain my weight, 10% is 300 calories. So if I want to gain, I put 300 calories more. If I want to lose, I put 300 calories less. And then I give it a couple of weeks. Every day, 2,700 if I want to lose. And then let's see if the scale is starting to go in the right direction.
And that's manageable.
Yeah.
It's not too high of a jump or a
Because
step.
that would maybe be one little snack that you don't eat anymore. In
Yeah.
comparison to if I say I'm going to go from 3,000 to 2,000, we're talking about a big meal plus 1 or 2 snacks that you directly cut out from one day to another. Mentally and physically, that's not going to be pleasant. It's not
Yes.
necessary. Why take the hard way just because you want fast results? Then after 3 months, you had the wedding, and after 3 months of starving yourself, and you go back to eating normal, and now you gain and you end up with more weight than before you started.
Exactly. And this leads me to the next thing that I really loved from the episode was another percentage, the 80-20% rule. Can you remind us what that means?
Yeah, 80% of the time you do what you're supposed to do, and 20% of the time you eat what you like, but you plan it, because if majority of the time you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're still going to get to results. And then that 20% of the time where you eat the pancakes or the cheesecake or the fries with hamburger, whatever you want, it will help you also mentally. And you shouldn't feel bad about it, because 80% of the time, which is a big chunk, you're still always on a good balanced nutrition plan, and it will lead in the long run to results. So there's no need to be fully extreme. You can still eat your chocolate, you just need to make sure that's not more than 20% of your total calories or your total amount of meals, however you want to calculate the 20%, the 80-20. But yeah, a lot of people, they think also in training that I need to be extreme to get results. No, you need to be consistent to get results. That's something completely different.
Exactly, that's what I like, the consistency about it, because you can be a hero for a week, but then you slack the rest of the month. And you know how fast it gets you off from the trajectory. For example, if I know people that if they missed a day not eating how they supposed to, they were like 100%, 180 turn, and they were like eating crap for all the week. That's also not sustainable.
That's strange, no?
Yeah, it's strange.
Like you managed all this time, and then just because you missed one day, now it's a full in to the other direction.
Yeah, yeah.
I already fucked up the day. I might as well go crazy.
You can go crazy in a lot of comparisons, but it's like you scratch your leg and now you scratch it even more because I scratched it once.
It's
Fuck it.
already damaged. I
Yeah,
might as well
it's
fuck up my
damaged.
entire leg. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that I remember from that episode is that body composition versus body weight. A lot of people, especially on the weight loss, they have a certain number on the scale in mind, and they're like overly focused on the scale. And you should think to yourself, what's the goal? Is the goal to reach, for example, I don't know, 55 kilos on the scale? Or is the goal to look better? I think in most cases is the goal to look better. The number is just a number. Maybe you look better at 85 kilos. Maybe you look better at 50 kilos. Who knows? But what I would say is not to be so overly focused on the scale number that you have in mind, but just to maybe every couple of weeks take a photo at the same moment of the day, maybe in the morning in front of the same mirror, and then just start comparing your photos and see how the body composition changes, because maybe the scale might even stay the same, but your body starts changing. Like you're starting to look better, and I think that's the end goal. So don't get discouraged on what you see on the scale. Also, from one day to another can be 1 or 2 kilos up and down. It's normal. If you're looking at the scale, look over a long period and see what the trend is, not day to day. Day to day, it can go up and down 1-2 kilos. It's normal. But what's probably better, also from a mental point of view, just look in the mirror. Make that photo. Because not just looking in the mirror, but make that photo and then in your phone, put them next to each other and slide through them. Then you will see the real change. Because looking at yourself every day in the mirror, you don't always see the change. You know, when you didn't see your a family member or a friend for months, they see the change. They say, you lost weight.
Exactly. And I was just thinking of this, to be honest, these days. Why is the reason we started this fitness journey? Because we wanted to look better naked. This was at the base of it. Then after all the reasons of health and mindfulness and equilibrium and sanity and everything. But in the end, you need to like how you look. Because let's imagine you can snatch 100 kilos, you can run 45 kilometers, but if you're not satisfied how you look, there's going to be a constant rat race towards what? If you don't know where is going to be the end, where do you want to go?
It's just a bit of change of food, because we know plenty of people that have fitness but don't look like they're fit. So it's nice to have both.
Yeah.
Over the years, like you said, it changed. Like now looking good became a side product of CrossFit, but it was not the main goal anymore. It's more about what you can do. But of course, everybody cares about how they look.
Yeah.
But then you need to attack the food still a little. Cannot outtrain bad food habits, unfortunately. I wish you could, but you can't.
What I would like to add to this is that we have a nutrition coach. We have Lore that is dealing with a lot of behaviors of eating. And what she's trying to do is not necessarily tell you what to eat and what you shouldn't eat. It's just guiding you towards this is a more beneficial food for you. You can still have what you want. Let's see how you eat, and then let's see how we can tweak it.
Exactly. She looks a bit on what you're doing now, and she's trying to work with what your habits are now and start to make small changes, because we have people that only order out, for example. They don't cook for themselves anymore, so then she helps them make better choices in the ordering out, or advise places where you can order out and make some good choices there.
Exactly. For example, if a menu usually comes with too much sauce, probably she will tell you that sauce is not the best. Leave it aside, eat the meat. Mm-hmm. There's no problem. But why I wanted to remind you of her being a nutrition coach is that nutrition, sometimes it's a very big and complex subject. And not to feel overwhelmed, talk to her, ask her for a discussion. She's going to be very willing to discuss about nutrition a lot. So just contact her and see where to grab it from. Sometimes it's just a little push that you need. Don't need a completely new and the key and the magic program.
No, small changes, like we said. We're not gonna. I don't think it's a good idea to talk to a nutritionist and then make a 360 in your habits, because it's not gonna last. So small habit changes is the road to success. The best food plan in the end is the one that you can stick to in the long run, not that you can only hold for 3 months. So that means we need to make small changes.
Exactly. And now let's move on.
Number 4.
It's a fancy name. Mechanics, consistency, intensity. I would like to make it a bit more easier to digest. Know what you need to do, practice often enough, and then do it faster and consistent.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say different?
Yeah. Learn the moves, then get enough practice on them that you can still do them correct enough under fatigue, because only after you can repeatedly do them correctly, even when you're tired, then it's the time to speed up and add weight. So even if it starts with an empty bar, as long as it doesn't look good with the empty bar, it's no use to go faster and to add weight, because it's going to lead to bad technique, and bad technique will lead potentially to injury. So there is an order of things.
And that's why we're focusing on quality over quantity. We want to see you do the movement, knowing the point of performance, what you need to do, not to be surprised by the coach coming and telling you, and then do it often enough that it sticks. And only then put that extra weight or go that extra higher gear a bit more faster. But sometimes we're there. Sometimes the coach sees you staying with 50 kilos or 40 kilos for too much. We see you move it very towards perfection. And then we say, okay, let's try 5 kilos extra today and see how it happens.
That's why I said when you can move it consistently, close to perfect. Because if it's looking too perfect, you can probably go a little bit faster or a little bit heavier. The technique will break down a little, but not to the point that you're going to be in danger of injury. But it will add an extra layer of intensity and push you to a bigger fitness. And what layers into mechanics, consistency, and intensity is, okay, it's about technique, but it's closely related also in a lot of people's cases with mobility restrictions. So it's going to be also important to work your mobility restrictions so you can put your body in the correct positions so you can do the moves correctly. Because if your body cannot be in the correct positions, if then you're going to put weight on it, for example, I have a tight upper back or shoulders, if I cannot put the bar straight overhead, if I'm going to start loading that up, it's going to put a lot of pressure on my joints and muscles, and I might get some small pains because of it. So if you certain moves from a mobility point of view you cannot do, you need to stick with the light weights while you wear the mobility restrictions. When the mobility restrictions solve themselves or get better, then you can start loading up. So it's not only technique, sometimes it's connected to mobility as well.
And if it's a mobility thing, it's a stretching issue sometimes. And the best stretch to do the movement is that movement itself.
Yeah,
if you are lacking the ability to overhead squat, guess what? Overhead squatting often and the small movement that you can do more often would benefit you a lot.
Yeah, I've had a weightlifting coach that said, okay, if you're not feeling loose in the bottom of your squat, go sit in an air squat for 5 minutes every day, and it's gonna get better.
Simple as that.
It's as simple as that. Same with the overhead squat. Go sit in the overhead squat, couple of sets of a minute. It's going to get better. You're going to get more comfortable.
Cool. Now let's get into that top 3. The moment has come. And on the third position, there's injuries. How they occur and how do we prevent them, and what are the most common ones. And what I remember from this episode was that CrossFit is not more dangerous than football.
Or running even.
Actually, any sport that gets you off the couch and outside, it can bring an injury. You can strain something, you can pull a muscle.
Because people these days, they think, because if I have a pain, I must have done something wrong. It's not always that simple. I think it's can be multiple things why you get injured. How is the training versus the recovery balance? How's your technique? Are you overdoing it? Are you, like we said about the in the last subject about the mechanics, consistency, intensity? Are you following that order? If not, you open yourself to little pains. Do you have mobility restrictions? If you do, are you working on them? Sometimes it's just bad luck. Sometimes shit just happens, just like when you're at home out of the couch and you pick something from the floor, all of a sudden you feel a tweak in your back. Why is that? Did you do something wrong? No, it's an accumulation of things. Maybe your body has been pushed in the last period too long, too much training, too little rest days. Recovery isn't optimal, and all of a sudden you have a tweak. It's not the end of the world. Do you think we need to stay home every time we feel something? Is there no training with every pain?
Not
Or go to
necessarily.
the physio?
Not necessarily. You need a bit of a rest. You need a bit of an assessment. What did I do? What was wrong? Was it the sleep? Was the food that I ate? What was wrong? I'm passing such a period now, and I'm trying to have a pretty diverse look over it and see what's happening. And I'm trying different stuff. But my struggle now is with the seasonality. It's cold. I'm getting very easily like with a cold, and I'm having issues breathing that intense, let's say.
Yeah.
And suddenly I have a red throat, and that's keeping me from training because I can have a fever after, and then a week I'm out.
So somehow your immunity is low in this
Yeah.
period.
I have no idea. I'm taking all the supplements that I need to take: vitamin C, fish oil, vitamin D. So I do what I can.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better sleep, but sometimes it's just how it is, and that you just need to embrace it. I will not stop moving. I will do something. As I told you, this week I just trained once in the gym, and then I had one training at home because I felt my throat was again giving me problems, and I want to train at home because it was comfortable. It was a bit more warmer. And the third day I just did an active recovery. I walked like 15,000 steps,
Yeah.
and I just stretched that day. And that's it. And today I'm going to go again at it and just try some static. So I will not stop completely.
Fitness is about consistency. You just need to get yourself moving somehow, even if it's not in the ideal circumstances.
But I understand that you don't have the mood for it. If I cannot do what everybody does, I feel disabled. I don't like that. It's not in the head.
Yeah, it's a mental
so if
thing.
you can pass that barrier, and if you can pass the joke, so what's wrong with you? Why can't you train? Why are you doing that ballet stuff? Hey man, this is just the phase that I'm in. It's fine. If I'm comfortable, you're good.
I've been working around the shoulder injury for months now. I haven't done any keeping pull-ups and toes to bar. If it's in the workout, I just do something else. I can do strict pull-ups. I can do sit-ups. You better do that than completely stay at home for every pain. You need to learn to work around it. Communicate with the coach when you're coming into class at the first signs of a pain, not after it's already been building for 2 weeks. So the moment you feel something from the day before, my back is a bit sore today. For example, maybe we did deadlifts yesterday and today it's power cleans. If you tell me that your back is a bit sore, or I'm going to give you hang power cleans, or I'm going to give you tall muscle cleans, but I'll probably not to let you pull from the ground if you feel a bit sore in your back. But I need to know about it, and then we can work around it, and then the body can heal itself. But if you keep ignoring it, and then you just do what's on the board and think it's okay, you might make it worse, unnecessary, just because you want to do what everybody else does. But we do want to give you, within a group class, some personalized advice, and this is one of them. Work around your injuries. So then you need to tell us, and we're going to work around it. So by the next week, you're completely fine again, and you can do everything that you see on the board.
Exactly. I think this is very valuable. Speak about it. Don't you don't need to tell and shout to everybody that you're injured,
No.
but just tell the coach. The coach will do what he's teach to be to take care of you. So that's good.
Yeah, and usually also when you have a bit of a nagging injury, completely not using it is also not the way to go. You want to get some blood flow in there. So if, for example, you have a shoulder issue, then I would give you some banded exercises, some light exercises to at least warm up the area in the first period of your of when you're hurt there, just to get some blood flow. The blood flow will help the healing process. And then we'll slowly ease you in again on towards maybe the moves overhead. But usually I recommend people not to avoid the explosive ones first. First go for the strict versions and find exercises that are pain-free. Maybe it's a strict press with barbell. Maybe in that direction the shoulder hurts. Okay, let's try a bench press or a dumbbell bench press. Still working the shoulders and the chest, and then see if it doesn't hurt, and we'll start there. We'll first start finding strict movements that don't hurt or hurt very little, because in the beginning when something is hurt, you might still have like a slight discomfort, but that's also part of the healing process. If it's like a 3 or a 4 out of 10, it's okay. If it's an 8, it's not, and you're going to make it worse. So you want to stress it a bit, but not too much. After all those strict ones start fully not hurting anymore, then maybe we can go back to push presses, push jerks, snatches, which are the explosive moves that also use those joints. So recap, keep working the area as a thorough warm-up, get blood flow in there, progress yourself to strict movements. After those are pain-free, progress yourself to the explosive movements again.
That's great.
But keep training.
That's a good note on it, yes. So for the second position, we have how often should I train? And I remember how you started the episode. Well, it depends.
Yeah, that's the answer on many things. It depends. Depends, yeah. What's the goal? Depends. But let's say for most of our customers, when they walk in, longevity is the goal. And then I usually say 3 times would be a good average. Keeping in consideration time versus effort. I know everybody's busy these days. They have family, they have kids, they have a busy job. Not everybody has the time to train 5 or 6 times a week, which would be my recommendation if you want to really be the fittest you. But if you want to have fitness, 3 times a week, I think it's a good average. You can get some strength in, you can lift some weights in those 3 sessions, you can do some cardio. It's regular enough not to be in full muscle pain, because every couple of days you have at least a training, in comparison to if I only come twice and my second training is on Wednesday and then I'm going to wait till Monday after to come again. I think a regularity of 3 times a week will benefit most people training for longevity.
Yeah, it's definitely a place to start. This is the minimum that we recommend also. And 5 to 6 is the CrossFit founders' recommendation. Come and train 5 to 6 times a week, and you will gain in your top shape of your current state.
You'll be very fit. Yeah, if you can recover from 5 to 6 days a week, if you can maintain that, you're going to become very fit even with 5 to 6 times 1 hour a week. It's not that many hours, but you need to have the time for it.
So why do people train except longevity?
Like we mentioned in the personal training. Performance can be performance, and performance can be divided over many things. I'm training for a competition and I have some weaknesses that I need to attack, or I'm training for a competition and I need more volume and I'm really pushing the limits, and I have periods in the year where I focus on strength, I have periods in the year where I focus on cardio, I have periods in the year where I start combining it. The closer to competition, the more specific training gets.
I think you just spoke a bit your programming trend also.
Yeah.
So for example, in our programming, in the class programming, you have this trend. In the winter, we're going to get into the building of the muscles. Then in the spring and summer, we're going to shed the extra weight off. and we just do a lot more cardio. And then in the autumn, we just prepare for the cold season again. So it's also up and down. It's not linear, right?
No, it's also that because in the class programming I have focus of the month, and now we're in cardio focus. But from January and February we will be in an open, the CrossFit Open prep. So we're gonna get a bit more specific and put more type of workouts and moves that, from a history point of view, has come up in the Open a lot. So we're gonna build those 2 months more towards competing in the Open, and we're gonna try to convince as many of you to participate.
Okay, so for the ones that don't know what we're talking about, the Open is the biggest online competition in our sport, and I think in many sports in the world. It's where everybody can compete with everybody. We have accessible movements, workouts that we are able to do, and it's in February or March.
In March.
In March.
So somewhere in the middle of March, I need to check.
Yeah.
So the 2 months before will lead up to that, and then in March we'll have three open workouts. It used to be 5, but then
So we're
we
gonna
switched
do
it to 3.
an open build-up.
Yeah, we're gonna do an open build-up, a bit focused on specific moves and couplets and triplets. We do all year long, but I'll repeat some open workouts as well from the last year, so you feel a little bit what an open workout is, and also to feel that it's not intimidating. It's just a training like we do on a daily basis. The only difference is that instead of looking at the whiteboard in Smart Move, you're looking at the whiteboard worldwide, where you rank up against people from all countries, against people from your age category. You can make many filters to see a little bit where you stack up.
And then in March it will be 3 weeks, 1 workout per week, and you have of course the chance to do it again, but we don't recommend that.
One and done, fuck.
If you're not going into the top 10,
Yeah.
I don't think you should aim for a redo.
Yeah, if you're in the top 10 and it's only 2 reps difference to pump you up a spot, I would redo, but otherwise, no. Why go through the pain again?
Honestly, I can wait for that. I can wait to participate at the Open again. We did it last time on Saturday.
Yeah,
I think we're going to do the same.
probably, yeah.
We're going to have some fun. We're going to stay after and have a drink or
Unless
a coffee.
a lot of people sign up, then maybe we'll reorganize it a bit. But if it's like it usually is, that we have like 20 people maximum sign up, then probably on Saturday. But if more of you sign up, we'll make it a day during the week.
Cool. Then let's go to the last episode, to the first episode and the most listened to is Know Your Why. I really enjoyed this episode because it made me think a bit more. Why do I train? What am I pursuing? And the place where I want to go. I enjoyed this one, and I think it made a lot of, it popped a lot of question marks in our community.
Yeah, did anything change? Because I re-listened to the episode a couple of days ago. Anything change in your why since then? Because I think we started that episode with the fact that goals change. It can maybe it's been, this was one of our first episodes, so it's been almost a year. Did anything change since then?
Pretty much, yeah. I even tried in this period to do a cycle of weightlifting, but then injuries just popped up left and right. I have a pretty sensible cervical area, and I blocked my neck a few times
From going overhead?
From going overhead too much. And I went on a path of just strengthening that area and then going to massage, and it got better. But now I stopped because the health issues. I'm getting cold very fast, and now I'm just training functional bodybuilding. I'm trying to pump that muscles that I didn't pump for like over 10 years. So I'm doing isolated movements and just see how that goes. And surprisingly, they are very tough.
Of course, everything you don't do for a while becomes a challenge
again. I can tell you my routine in 3 days. So I'm having 3 days. I'm training back and chest in the first day, and I'm having 3 sets of each. 3 sets of each muscles, and then I do arms, that's shoulders, biceps, triceps, and then I have a day of legs in which I do back squat or front squat, and I do some deadlifts or some hip thrusts, and I don't even want to tell you how my butt cheeks feel after those workouts.
Because you're not used to it
In
anymore.
which I do from 10 to 20 reps per set.
It's a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Your body gets a bit of a shock. You're only as strong as the exercises you do on a regular basis.
But I do feel my joints feel different. It was worse, but now it feels like a bit more tighter. So what I read online is that if you train isolated movement, it somehow protects your joints. For example, elbows, knees, shoulders. So that's my phase I'm in right now.
So tell me about it after you finish with it. Maybe we can incorporate some static lifting in the class for a programming month.
What about you? I know you're training for Harrows, but since that episode, if you listen to it, what changed?
Yeah, in that episode, I was just training for general health, just maintaining the strength a bit, doing more cardio than in the years before, not exaggerating on the heavy weights too much. Because you're getting older, so you can't take the volume on heavy lifting that much anymore. You can still heavy lift, but just less sets. And now I in the last 5 months, I was preparing for a Hyrox that then got postponed from November to February because of the floods in Valencia. So now my 5-month prep is turning into an 8-month prep. Unforeseen, but it is what it is. So yeah, I've been training about 6 times a week, 3 runs and 3 gym trainings. Some in the gym training, some strength and Metcon, so just CrossFit training. But then in combination with the running, seeing that the Hyrox race is 60% running, so I'm pushing my run up. And I also, shortly after the episode of Know Your Why, I was in an aerobic capacity course in Amsterdam with Chris Hinshaw that was talking a lot about also Hyrox, but mainly about zone 2 running. And then I wanted to do it as an experiment just to see how it is, because when I go to courses, theory is one thing, but feeling it out, how it is yourself by actually doing it, gives you an entire new perspective on it. And I've seen big progress in my running. I haven't run this fast and this long since years, but I haven't focused on running in years either. So I'm like now 35 kilometers a week combined with the 3 trainings. It's fun to train for something, to have a goal. So that's also ties into your why. And that's also why we do goal reviews. Your goal can change, but it's good to focus and to work towards something because it gives you a reason to go into the gym. It can be, okay, I'm preparing for a race. It can be, I'm trying to improve my strength for toes to bar. So I make sure that every time there is anything hanging on the bar that I'm in the gym, or anytime it's something back focused that I'm in the gym. So it leads me towards my goal. So it's good to pinpoint specific goals.
Do you think it's possible that your goals change and you don't notice? For example, you've been always training like this, but then you had a kid, and then your work changed, and then multiple things add up, but I'm doing still this 5 to 6 times a week, but then it drops to 4 and then to 3, but then you don't notice. And then you're going to get frustrated because your goal changed, but you just didn't take the time off to think about it a bit. And the goal review sometimes puts you face to face with that. Okay, Bart, but how long have you been training with us? I see here that your average is like 2.7.
Mm-hmm.
But look, in 2022, you were five trains a week. What changed? And then we will go, and then sometimes it will be a beneficial talk.
I think it's very beneficial to sometimes be pointed to the facts that what you think is your goal and what you're actually doing, it's not matching anymore. And maybe for good reason, but then you don't need to be frustrated. You probably just need to change your goal and accept it. I don't have the time anymore to train like a competitor and be ready for competition, so I cannot expect to be in top shape because I just don't have the time and circumstances anymore to put that time in training and in recovery to be able to go for that goal. And it's okay.
Exactly. And what I would do and advise people to do is my favorite thing. At the end of the year, I start and reflect a bit of how the year was. And I just think a bit and I just look a bit I have it in my schedule and I can see my travels, my trainings, my challenges, my courses I went, if I went to develop myself or not. So I'm having a black and white view of, okay, in what did I put my effort into this year? Okay, I said I'm going to do this at the beginning of the year. What did I do towards that? Oh, nothing. And that's going to it's a very confronting exercise, and that can be very easily transferred to the trainings. If you said you want to become a bit more proficient at your snatch, what did you do? I just did the same thing I did. Great. So that means you're in the same place. You didn't put extra work.
How often did you go to the weightlifting class? How often did you catch snatches in class if that really was your goal? So it's confronting sometimes, but we need to be honest with ourselves. And I think doing that exercise, it can also help you be less frustrated because you see black and white. This is what I wanted. This is what I did for it. Of course, I'm in the same place.
Yeah, that's very valuable.
Or I adjust my goals or I adjust my actions. One of the two needs to move, and we need to be realistic. Can I do more? Or just not, or I can't, and then my goal isn't realistic, I adjust my goal. Or I just need to man the fuck up. And if I say I'm gonna go to the weightlifting class, just fucking sign up.
Yeah, and make a note. And nowadays this is a pretty hard thing to do because you're having everything on your phone. But what I did and try to keep myself accountable, I have a sticky note and I just wrote there the workouts. Not anymore on my phone or my Google Calendar, but in my face. When I work at the laptop, and in my face. Monday, this is the time and this is the workout. And if I don't check it next to it, I fucked up, I didn't do it. So then it keeps you accountable. At the end of the week, you see, okay, so I plan to train 5 times. What did I do? 2 times. Okay, that's bad. So again, let's try next week. Don't be that harsh with yourself, but next week try to stick more to what you said you do.
Just try to get closer to it until you get the consistency to actually do it fully.
And analyze. See what happened that you didn't do that.
Yeah, was it avoidable or not? Or was it just one of those weeks?
If it's outside of your control, it's normal.
Could I still have done something else? Could I still have gotten a home workout in with a Tabata? Yes or no? And probably yes.
I think we remember this, but the mirror and the honest truth about this is just pulling out your phone, going to the screen time, and see that if you have more than 5 hours that week on Instagram, and in average there's almost 9 hours, it means that you fucking had a lot of time on your hands.
You're just not honest with yourself.
Exactly. You're not honest.
So I think this is the main takeaway. Compare your goals with your actions and be honest with yourself. And also set realistic goals. I usually say write down the perfect scenario. I don't know, 4 times, 5 times a week, whatever the perfect scenario according to your goal is. And write what is the bare minimum. Try to always do the bare minimum, but aim for the perfect scenario.
Anything on top? Thumbs up. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leads us to the top 10. And please write us on email stuff that we could talk over it and it will benefit you. And for the future, the plan is to invite our coaches. We want you to hear their stories. We want to connect with them. And we shall have an episode with each and every one of them. And that's about it for the time to come. As usual, if you have any questions, please write us. And until next time, take care and thank you for listening.